Hey guys, welcome to Redneck Off the Range. A couple weeks ago I brought my Sunburst box blade out for the first time and tried it out, and I just wanted to give my opinions on the Sunburst box blade, mainly because you see lots of reviews on like the higher end box blades and stuff, like the everything attachments and the homestead implements and all the Land Pride, Frontier, all the big names, but you don't really see a whole lot on these smaller name implements like the Sunburst that came with my Branson, and I wanted to just make a video on it. Now, I didn't have a camera with me when I was actually using it, and it's really rainy right now, so I really can't take it out and show you everything, but maybe in the future I will, because I do need to go over the driveway. I will have to go over the driveway in the future, but for now I just wanted to share my opinions as a new tractor owner and as a first-time box blade user, and just tell you all my experience. So with the tractor, we got this 6-foot Sunburst box blade. It's really a no-name brand. I never really heard of it before until I heard of Branson tractors, and most of the dealers that I've seen, or at least most of the people I've seen online, it seems like a lot of the Branson dealers have these lesser known implements like Sunburst or Agri X, and so my Branson dealer had Sunburst box blades, which I was told were made in America. I forget if he said they were made in Georgia or wherever he said they were made, but he claims that they are made in America, and I've never really found a whole lot of information on them to verify whether that's true or not, but from the looks of it, it seems like a pretty good box blade. Like I said, it's 6 foot, so it came with 6 of these ripper shanks. You can get them in 4 foot and 5 foot, but for the 3515, which we have, he gave us the 6 foot wide version. I probably would have preferred the 5 foot, but he gave us the 6 foot, and I'll explain why that is in a minute. But after the first use, it did hold up pretty well. There are quite a few big rocks and concrete under the gravel of the driveway, because my grandfather didn't really believe in doing anything the right way, and so when going through just testing it out for the first time, I put the ripper shanks down in the middle setting, so they weren't digging into the ground, but they weren't up all the way or even up facing or just out altogether. So they were engaging the rocks in certain places, but they weren't digging into the ground. And based off of how the driveway is built, and I did hit a few big rocks, and the smaller rocks that were pretty good size I tossed to the side, but there are still a few really big rocks down in the driveway that the blade hung up on, and I ended up having to stop, go back, and go over it. But yeah, so I'll have to figure out where all those big rocks are and just be aware of them, or even just dig them out. I don't know how big they are. And of course, like I said, there is some concrete up there, because I guess whenever they poured concrete for the foundation of the house, they just washed out the concrete truck on the driveway, and so under the gravel there's bits of concrete that's it's not something you want to get the ripper shanks hooked on. So whether we dig that out in the future, break it up and get rid of it, or just leave it there, that's to be determined. But that's stuff you want to look out for with a box blade or a land plane. You don't want to snag your ripper shanks or your blade on stuff like that, because you might damage something. Now, I said I did get hung up on one, and it didn't really damage it. I heard like a crunching sound, and I was really afraid that I broke something, but I didn't. Being a first-time tractor owner and a first-time box blade operator, it's working on an implement like this, most tractor implements really, there is a learning curve, so it's kind of a trial and error thing. And so I just kind of played around with the adjustments of the top link to figure out how I wanted it. And I still didn't get it perfect. I didn't get it perfect, so I still have to take it out and test it some more. And you can play with the side link too for an angle if you want. But what I've found and what I've read or what I've seen on YouTube is generally if you want to dig into the earth and drag material with you, you want your box blade to be angled forward. And if you're not wanting to do that, you want it angled backwards. And I was just kind of playing around with that because it's not all that easy to eyeball it, especially if your ground isn't level anyway. And I didn't have any sort of a level with me at the time. But I just kind of played around with the top link and just played around with it. And I did get the driveway quite a bit smoother than it was before. Got rid of all the potholes and the ruts and stuff like that, but it's still not perfect. So on another dry day, I'll probably take this out and test it out. Now, why would I wanted to get a 5-foot over a 6-foot, and why did the dealer give me a 6-foot? So generally speaking, you want your rear implements to cover the width of the tires. On this tractor, the width of the tires is 62 inches, and this is a 72-inch box blade. And if I went with a 5-foot or a 60-inch box blade, there would have been an inch of tire on each side. Now, that's really not that big of a deal because the tread on, the tread that's engaging the ground is more inside, and it rounds out to the outside where the outer edge of the tire is. So would that 1 inch make a difference? Me being not an expert, I would say probably not. But again, I'm not an expert. I've never tried this with a 5-foot box blade on this tractor. I don't know if if that would make a difference or not. I'm guessing no, but the dealer recommended a 6-foot box blade to guarantee that there was coverage, to guarantee that it covered the edges of the tires. And it does, and of course it sticks out about 5 inches on each side because it's a 10-inch overlap. And so that's all fine and dandy, but the problem with that I found is that if you're wanting to go along the edge of the driveway, you have to keep in mind that the edge of your box blade extends past the side of the tractor. So you want your tires to be just a little bit inside, otherwise you're cutting into the dirt and the grass along the side of the driveway. Now on some driveways where there's like a drainage ditch on the side, that might not matter, but we don't really have that, at least not right now. The way our driveway is set up is kind of a pain because of just how the layout of the land is and how the water will rush off the hill. One side of the driveway is low, one side of the driveway is high. That's just the way it is, and there's not really a good way to fix that. I do have a few ideas, but they haven't been implemented yet. But I just have to remember that when I'm pulling this up and down the driveway, that the box blade actually does stick past the side of the tractor a little bit, and I have to constantly look back behind me and make sure that I'm not digging into the ground, because I have done that several times going up and down the driveway. And that's not a huge deal or anything, but it's not ideal. You don't want to rip up all that really good, perfectly good grass on the side of the driveway and replace it with dirt when you don't need to. So that's just one thing that I noticed. Other than that, I mean, it seems like a pretty good box blade. Nothing's bent on it. I know, like a lot of those the lower quality, like the County Lines and the King Cutters, the cheaper box blades, even though they're made in America, or at least they claim they are. I know a lot of them are made with Chinese steel, and it's a softer steel. And when you get stuck on things like to bend. I have not seen anything bend on this yet. This is not built as heavy as some of the higher end box blades, but really this wasn't a cheap box blade. It was $1,000 along with the tractor, $1,000 on top of the cost of the tractor. So it's not exactly a cheap box blade, but I guess nowadays $1,000 for a box blade isn't a whole lot. It does have, so some box blades have cross or supports that go diagonal. This one just has one piece of angle iron going straight down. And why does that matter? Well, that is a problem when it comes to quick hitch compatibility, and I'll bring the camera in closer in a little bit, but because this is built the way it is, this box blade is not quick hitch compatible, which sucks. I mean, you can still use the Pat's quick hitch on it, which I think I'm going to go with a Speedgo quick hitch, and I'll probably explain why in another video. But I personally would like to go with the Speedgo quick hitch because of what my needs call for. And to put a Speedgo quick hitch or any other type of quick hitch on this box blade, you're going to have to take a couple extra steps. It will still work, or at least I think it will work. I've heard people doing similar things, and I've seen people do similar things. But you just have to take off the top hook and take the pin out, and it's not ideal, but it will still work, and it will still be easier than hooking up like this, because this tractor does not, again, I'm a new tractor owner, and I find it a little bit difficult to get everything lined up perfectly. And this is a pretty heavy box blade. It's like 400 pounds, so if you're not lined up perfectly and you try to jerk it around a little bit to get it to fit, I mean, this is 400 pounds you're lugging around, and you might hurt your back or something. So that's not ideal. But like I said, I have an idea on how to get a quick hitch to work, and I think it'll be better. Now, as far as the tractor itself being able to pull the box blade up and down the hill, this is a 35 horsepower tractor, and it did it with ease. I never really felt like the tractor was going to bog down and stop. Now, I did have it in low gear, and I had the throttle all the way up into the green area for the PTO, which they say you're supposed to do that for the engine, the regen, the DPF, just to keep the soot burning. And so that's what I did. I did have to put it in four-wheel drive because once it filled up with material, the back tires wanted to spin, and so I just put it in four-wheel drive, and after that it was perfectly fine. So and this, like I said, this is not flat land. You're going uphill, and then you're turning around and coming back down. So pulling this box blade with full of material up that driveway, this tractor was able to do it with ease. So the only other thing I want to talk about, and I just want to talk about what I do like and what I don't like. So what I do like, first of all, is it does seem to be well built. Like I said, they claimed it was made in America, and I have no way to verify that because Sunburst, as far as I could find, doesn't have an actual website. And as far as I could find, Sunburst is only box blades. I've never found any other implement with the Sunburst name, like a brush hog or an angle blade or anything like that. I was only ever able to find Sunburst box blades. So the actual company that makes the box blade, I don't really know who they are, but on the side of the box blade, you probably can't see it from the angle, but it says Sunburst Farm Equipment, and it's just a sticker, really. But from what I see so far, it does seem to be well made. Nice, like 1/4-inch steel, I think this is. It is painted red. It's not an exact match to the tractor, but it is painted red. It has blades, the back blades going at the angles, one forward, one backward. Has 6 ripper shanks. I will bring the camera in closer and show you how they work, but there's 6 ripper shanks, and they're the notched style ripper shanks, which they work okay. I know some box blades have ripper shanks that have holes in them where you put the pins through. This is the notch style, and They still work good. I don't really like the way that they're secured in there. I think they could have had a better way, and I'll show you that in a minute. But there are 3 different settings, and when you get one of these, they typically have the ripper shanks in 3 different directions. I guess that's for shipping purposes, but I had to take 4 of the shanks out and reposition them to where they are like they are now. And of course, you can take them out, you can raise them up, lower them down, or have them up and backwards. Yeah, so let me bring the camera in for a few close-ups, and I'll show you some. I'll show it up close, and you can have a better understanding of how this box blade is actually built. Alright, first things first, let me just show you where the top link hooks in at. So, like I said, you do have one piece of angle iron going from the back all the way up to where the top link is, and the reason that this is not quick hitch compatible is because that top link, the top link hook would interfere with this piece of angle iron, and so your top hook won't be able to go up under the pin and hook on. Now, my solution, or at least what I think the solution will be, is to take the pin out, take the top hook off, and you can get pins for them, and then just hook the bottom 2 links, which is really the hard part of hooking up a 3-point hitch. Hook those up, and then put your top hook on and the pin. So I think that would be a good option for that. But again, this is a little bit disappointing that it's not quick hitch compatible. It just hinders it a little bit, but it's not that big of a deal. I think they could have made it just a little bit better as far as that goes. Now, as far as the ripper shanks go, or the Scarifiers, whatever you want to call these, like I said, they are the notch style, where they have notches in the back and they hook to the actual frame of the box blade. Now, what I don't like about this is they have like these hitch pins in here to secure them, and that's kind of weird, I think. Most of these that have the notches have like a little spring clip that has like two legs, and you pinch them together and pull them out. That would be a whole lot easier than coming down here, pulling your hitch pin out, and then pulling this pin out. I don't think I'm going to be able to get the whole thing out just because I don't have the tractor on, but you get the idea. It has these hitch pins in there to secure the ripper shanks, and like I said, it does have 3 notches, so it's got 1 notch here, so you can go down 1 notch, or you can go up 1 notch, or you can turn them around, flip them up, or you can just take them out altogether. And here is the logo on the side, Sunburst Farm Equipment. And of course you have your blade going across there and your blade in the back. It is a little bit rusty in spots, and that's just a product of being stored outside. Virtually all tractor dealers are going to have their tractors and stuff outside. I mean, there's little bits of rust on the tractor itself, but that's not a huge deal. I mean, when you use things, they're going to get rusty anyway. So anyway, that is the Sunburst box blade. I wouldn't exactly call this a review, but more of an overview, because I don't ever see anybody talking about these online. So far, it seems like a good box blade, very well built. Again, not the heaviest built box blade, but so far in my one use of going up and down the driveway probably about 10 times a couple weeks ago, I have not seen any real wear or damage on this box blade. And I did get hung up a time or two, and I don't see any damage on the box blade or any damage on the tractor itself. So for my first time use of the box blade, and really like my first time real big heavy use of the tractor itself, they've both held up really well, so I am very happy. So anyway, that's all for this video. Subscribe to my channel, and until next time, be safe.